Maybe. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be a conference call. Pardon? I know.
And you, 3 times now I've emailed you the same thing, but that's only because your CC and the last 2 got kicked back to the main.
Oh.
Because the address isn't valid.
I'll forward you the, well, I'm gonna try this. This, I don't know, how does I start work? I can't get the keyboard. It wasn't.
Going in the other room, so, I'll be back.
Our other people don't have any. I
All right, I mean. Where's that?
Yeah. They do keep you full. I usually eat the blueberry ones. I mean, I'm sure they have sugar. It's 11 grams of sugar. Are other people in the bigger room?
I think so.
Yeah. Everybody doesn't really fit in there, though.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Good morning, everyone. This is Megan O'Connor. I'm hoping that people can hear me. Hi, folks. Good morning. We're sorry that we are running a couple minutes late and we were having some technology issues. So we are obviously going to be doing this as a conference call. And I'm hoping that if people could maybe send an email to Anna Brown. We're just trying to make sure that folks can hear us. So bear with us for a minute. Okay, so I understand that we're getting some indication that people can hear us. So good morning, and we will be forwarding the PowerPoint out to people after we conduct the webinar. But we'd like to just welcome everyone. We do have a lot of information to cover, and Ann Ogden is out today, so I am the lucky one filling in here. And so just bear with me for a moment while I load the PowerPoint so I can go through that. Okay, so we have a number of topics that we're going to be presenting on today. We're going to start with care management activities. We're also going to cover enrollment and billing. We're going to have, Lisa Reese is going to have a number of human resource updates that are very, very important for people to hear and understand certain actions you may need to take. We are going to have a brief discussion on some different training and Medi-Sched items. We'll have an update on equipment and records. Jim Moran will be presenting briefly on the CareDesign New York organizational structure, so people kind of know the big picture with our organization and where we're going in the future. And then hopefully we will have some time for Q&A. So we will get started. So care management activities. I want to start with really one of the most critical things is the outreach that care managers should be doing with all the individuals and families that are on your caseload. And we know that there's been a lot of moving parts with this that you may have recently, even as recent as yesterday or today, have someone added to your caseload. Our expectation is that you're reaching out directly as soon as possible to the individuals and families so that they know they are connected, they know who their care manager is that will be assisting them, and it's really something that we'd like to do really as a way to welcome people. We will be sending out a welcome letter as well at some point in the future, but everyone should have, for people that have been on your caseload, you should have already completed that outreach. If for some reason you didn't, we'd like to see that done by close of business tomorrow. So for new cases, please do it as soon as possible. And we're going to continue, obviously, as an organization to prioritize caseload assignments. It's our top priority, ensuring that individuals that have chosen CareDesign are connected with the care manager as soon as possible. And the directors and supervisors will continue to work with you on coverage and trying to make the appropriate adjustments where we need to. And anyone that is working less than 40 hours right now, if you're interested in additional cases and increasing up to 40 hours, please let your supervisor know. We very much would like to have that happen where we can, where people are interested. Some other updates, a reminder, the care management checklist needs to be completed by July 31st. Please complete it, and when you have your next face-to-face visit, you can have it signed then. But the expectation from OPWDD is that that would be completed. Another reminder, when you're sending emails with personal health information or PHI, please make sure to put the word secure in the subject line. That's very, very important. A couple other quick updates. We're working with OPWDD to have certain information auto-populated into Medi-Sched, one of which is the ICD-10 codes. And we also it seems that we're going to need to do some of our own updating of valid addresses for individuals and families. We have tried to work with OPWDD. I'm not sure we're over that hurdle yet. So as you are going into Medi-Sched, once you have the address, if you could just kind of quickly put it into the system, I think that's really our best plan here as we go forward. And then we also are working on further guidance on the topic of saving documents in Medi-Sched. Lori's been working on this, and we expect that next week we'll have guidance for you on that. And later on in our presentation, we'll briefly discuss what to do in the interim.
Apparently you're going in and out now.
Choices and e-PACES. I want to give a quick update that Christina Cunningham has been working on helping to get us access for both of those systems. Right now we have over 90 care management staff approved as users of Choices. We are certainly working with OPWDD to have the rest of our requests approved. They frankly have a backlog of thousands that they're trying to get to. In the meantime, I think it's very important that we are trying to use people that are approved for Choices access, especially supervisors or directors or other colleagues you may have, to help you to access information you need in the interim. And Christina is also working on helping us to get access to the e-PACES system, which would be the connection to eMedNI and Medicaid billing. Enrollment. We're working on enrollment and coverage for those preliminarily assigned. And as a reminder, if you do have one of those individuals that is being assigned to your caseload, and of course many of you will, the enrollment information, the CCO enrollment information will need to be completed by Care Design New York, and people need to know that they have the choice, but these are the folks that came over and were not, their enrollment packets were not done ahead. So that is something that will be the responsibility of us, and we will be working on a plan to kind of track and continue to work those through as we make some progress with those. Tier 4 status, this topic has been coming up a lot, and we are definitely aware of people's concerns. We'll be providing further guidance in the near future, and we are establishing a plan for caseload management. So in the meantime, bear with us with this. We are in discussion with OPWDD as well. Billing. So Jim Moran, I don't know if you want to jump in on this or if you want me to continue.
Hey, Megan, it's Lisa. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, because I know that Jim had some difficulty with audio in his space. Jim, are you there? I think he's going to join me if you want to just give him a minute to come in. He's in a different conference room, so he's coming into this conference room, I think, to address this. Just give us a second.
Okay.
All right, here I am.
Oh, here he is. All right, the chairman is.
So this is like one disaster after another with this. So I can hear Megan fine on the phone, but she can't hear me. So anyway, yes, I just want to just say, first of all, you know, it's been a rough week and change, and for many respects, obviously, trying to get the webinars down continues to be a challenge. But anyways, I want to talk about billing. I want to first of all thank everybody for the hard work. We were able to bill on Tuesday evening for over $1 million of services provided during the first week and into Monday. So given all of the trials and tribulations that, you know, you've all been through in trying to, whether it be equipment, records, you name it, it's been a challenge for everybody. So I appreciate the efforts on the part of all of the staff to carry on and do the best you can, and to the point where we were able to bill for $1 million on Tuesday evening. Now, we don't know what we're going to get paid out of that $1 million billing, hopefully all of it, but the point is we were able to get that in. So I really wanted to really just extend my gratitude to all of you for your persistence in spite of the challenges that have been before you to remain, you know, from a continuity of support perspective. So thank you for that. I know we've got to do a lot more work around, we're getting a lot of questions on billing, and we'll talk about that as well. I know the training that we were supposed to do last week, on Tuesday, was focused more, and actually the one today as well, will focus on the incident management, and billing will be next week and more in depth. I think just a couple of general comments I would say on the billing and talking to staff about the billing. I think, you know, people are very used to MSC billing and how that works. This is not MSC billing. This is far, believe it or not, it is far simpler. And the requirements to bill are far easier. To basically anything you do can fit into one of the billable categories. And it's only one activity. And when activity delivered and documented, it becomes a billable service. So obviously next week we'll spend more time on this with all of you. We'll also put out some, which I circulated internally here at Southwoods for the staff who are residing with us, just to give them some sense of, here's some examples of activities that fit within some of the core activities of the billing. We will distribute that later today to everybody to have just in sort of, to kind of help them. I think that, again, the important thing is you know, delivering one service, supervisor signs off on it, and it moves on to billing, assuming the supervisor approves it. I think one of the important things is, obviously, if there's a face-to-face requirement, that obviously needs to be met in order to bill if it's a Tier 4 individual. So no matter what activity you do for a Tier 4 individual, won't bill if in fact the face-to-face has not been achieved. So I bring that up because, and even in Tiers 1 through 3, you need that by the third quarter of every quarter to have the face-to-face. We would still get paid for, using July and August as an example, we will get paid even though a face-to-face has not occurred for a Tier 1 through 3. However, by the month of September, the September service cannot bill until a face-to-face has occurred. Okay, now the other thing that's important, and Lori will go through this next week in the training, is that when you do a face-to-face, it is important that you check the box that says face-to-face. If you do it as a note and check some other box, it will not record that in the system as a face-to-face. It won't identify other than you have to check that box. All right, and Lori will go through that more in depth next week. But that's very important. So it will not look to your notes to say, you know, face-to-face, went to the doctor with the, it will not look at that. You have to check that box that says face-to-face. Okay, so that's very important when we get, particularly for Tier 4 individuals, and obviously when we get to the third month of any quarter, or even if it's not every third month or every the third month, anytime you do the face-to-face, it really should be identified as such and check that box, regardless of what other activity you do. So anyway, so that's, I know there's a lot of questions around this, and obviously it's important that we start to pick up billing as we move on in order to cover. I will say that assuming we get paid for all of our billing this week, we'll actually cover our payroll, which is good. Not that we won't cover our payroll. I say that because in terms of we have dollars to pay for that. But the point is that we want to make sure we're billing for services that are covering our expenses, right? So as we go forward, we will be doing weekly billing. I think most of you probably know that, even though it's a monthly service, and that's another concept that people have, you know, because you're not used to that with MSC, you're used to doing things at the end of the month. We're billing weekly because you can bill for a service as soon as you provide it, and it's documented and approved by a supervisor and cleared through the billing manager. It will bill in the following week. So that's how it works. So that's how that will be going forward. So that's a sort of a brief piece on billing. But again, thank you all for your efforts. And we'll let you know how we made out in terms of actual receipt of that 1.1 million. So we should know that fairly soon. So Megan, back to you.
Thanks, Jim. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Reese because we're on human resource updates now.
Okay, all right.
Can you see back here, Lisa?
I can,
Okay,
that's the problem. So Megan, I'm really far away from the screen. Oh, hey, look at this. Oh, thank you. All right, I now have the screen close to me. So the first thing is, I know many people have had questions about the wage acknowledgement forms. We had continued to have issues. We believe that we resolved the issues for the hourly wage acknowledgement form. So if you haven't done it yet, and you go into Paycom and try to do the wage acknowledgement form, we are hopeful that it worked. And I guess we'll know shortly when you all try it. Some of you were able to navigate through it. There was a problem with the form that required 2 signatures. But we think that we have fixed this issue. So if not, we'll try again tomorrow. We only get 1 shot per day at fixing this, the way Paycom is set up. For those that are exempt, the salaried employees, we're still working on the fix for that, and as soon as that is ready, we will send out a checklist for you to go in and do your wage acknowledgement form. So just have a little patience with us with that. TrueView, the education verification, I really apologize. I'd sent an email out on Monday that I had hoped would reach everyone affected, everyone in care management, and apparently some people got it, some people didn't. Most people seemed to not have received my email announcing that one of the credentialing items that we have to do for all care managers, and it is a requirement of our billing, is to ensure that we have documentation of appropriate education that meets your grandfathering level, et cetera. So that is being done by a third party called TrueView. I know that many, if not all of you, should have received an email by now. If you haven't received an email, please check your spam folder or your junk file or something that might catch that email. And if you still don't see it, please send an email to Holly Duravage. It's hduravage@caredesignny.org, and let her know that you did not receive it. We will ask the company to resend it. They are supposed to automatically resend it to you after 3 days if you do not respond. If you don't go into the system, enter your information, they will send you a reminder after 3 days so that, you know, if you never got the first email, you probably won't get the reminder. We'll have to look into why that happened. But everyone's information has been sent to TrueView in terms of their email addresses. We do need you to respond to that as quickly as possible. The paychecks are being delivered today. They are being delivered to our New York City office. That is where our payroll department is. Our payroll manager, Kathy Murray Kelly, also known as KMK, she is down there and she's mailing the checks out from there. One of the things that we had done in this initial upload with direct deposit, and a lot of people had questions about direct deposit, we had been asking that there was a form that Kathy had sent out and to be sent directly back to payroll. We have now opened direct deposit up on Paycom. So if you did not sign up for direct deposit with this first check, you can go into Paycom and elect direct deposit directly. Put your information in there. You will still need to send her a scanned copy of the check. That will need to still be sent to payroll, but you can initiate the process directly through Paycom. And Paycom oh, Megan, can you just go back one? I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. Paycom login reminder. Okay, one of the major reasons why people are getting snagged on I can't log into Paycom is because they're not necessarily putting the right email address, and there's a lot of confusion around the email. Just remember the formatting, caredesignny.org. It's not .com. Don't forget the NY. These are things that we're seeing people get tripped up on. So just be mindful of putting in the exact email format. Okay, thanks, Megan. Next screen. Yeah. Oh, okay. We just got confirmation that the WTPA form works for the hourly employees. Yay. So that's all set.
So Lisa, are people all set if they did put the direct deposit in initially? Because we're not seeing that yet in the Paycom.
You should see it today. I know Kathy was still working on it yesterday, so you should see it today. And if you don't, if there's a question about your direct deposit, please send an email to payroll@caredesignny.org, and Kathy would be happy to look into the status of it. The DMV reminders. So we have about 200 people, Holly, that have not responded to Holly about whether they drive, and if they drive for Care Design Business, we need to get your driver's license number, not your plate number on your car, but your driver's license information. And that is a requirement in order to be paid mileage. If you don't drive for the organization, that's fine. If you use public transportation, just let Holly know. Obviously, your information is not going to be in DMV if that's the case. If you send an email. Okay, yes. So what this says is if you don't drive for any reason at all, you'll just need to send her an email stating that. And if you have questions about your mileage or your travel reimbursement, that is a question for payroll. So again, that question goes to payroll@caredesignny.org, but that is being funneled through there. Paycom checklists and I-9s. So the I-9s were due on the first day of employment, and I think we're still missing some I-9 information. So if you have not given the 2 forms of ID to your supervisor, please do so as soon as possible. I know you probably may not have it with you today, so please bring it in tomorrow. Your supervisor needs to confirm that they've seen the original document, they scan the front and back of it, send it to Human Resources or directly to Holly, either one, Human Resources at caredesignny.org, or they can send it directly to Holly H. Duravage at caredesignny.org. we also have about 40 people who have not logged into Paycom yet, which means they haven't done any of their onboarding, any of their training. They've entered no time into the timesheet. This is a significant concern. I don't know, maybe we had 40 people on vacation the first week, I'm not sure. But if you are on this webinar and you have not logged into Paycom, please do so today. If you don't know how to do that, or you can't find the email initiating that process, please contact us. You can contact us at humanresources@caredesignny.org or payroll@caredesignny.org, and either of those emails will reach a resource who can help you get into Paycom. The 401k enrollment, we did begin this. We had a really good turnout in the first week. We had about 100 people that enrolled in the 401k in the first week, and I know there was a lot going on in that first week, so it's totally understandable if you put that on a back burner. But I just encourage you to not keep it on that back burner. Pull it back up front, take a look at it. Don't miss out on this opportunity for that 1% match. Okay, everyone's going to get the 3%. You don't have to do anything to get the 3%. But why miss out on another 1%, right? So maximize that. If you put in 4%, you'll get the 1% match. So I just encourage everyone to do it. It's a terrific benefit. The bilingual wage adjustments were processed for this pay period. So everyone who was designated as, who has that skill set of being bilingual and who is using that skill set for their caseload did receive an adjustment, and it will be in this Friday's check. If you are in that category of being bilingual and using that skill set for your caseload and you did not get that adjustment, please contact your regional director, because I think this information was funneled to payroll through the regional directors. So please let your regional director know so that we can make an adjustment. We would absolutely make the adjustment retroactive, so don't want anyone to be concerned that they missed out on something if they got missed in this first check. And lastly, we did get about 100 internal applications for the care management supervisory and director level opportunities. This, of course, is going to take some time for HR to work through these with each regional director to be looking at the applicants, and we'll be doing that over the course of the next couple of weeks, and everyone who applied will absolutely be we'll be in touch with everyone who applied. It's not to say that everyone will necessarily be interviewed, but everyone will hear one way or another about the status of their application. I think that's it, Megan.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Is Lori Liptak there?
She isn't in this room with me. I don't know if she's with Jim.
Okay, I'll run through these items.
Okay.
Okay. So here's some updates on training and Medi-Sched. As mentioned earlier, our weekly trainings are going to continue on Tuesday mornings and Thursday afternoons. Please make sure to register. We did end up covering incident reporting this week. So next week will be billable services. Definitely encourage people to attend and get further guidance on billing. So that's next week. And the topic of saving documents has been coming up, and Lori and others are working on providing guidance on how we'd like to, as an organization, see that handled. In the meantime, as you're saving documents, you can use your OneDrive to save in the interim, and we do expect to have this ironed out really for next week, so more to follow on that. And we also have, you should find in your M Drive the Care Design New York letterhead and fax cover sheet. And the IM assessment, we are also going to be providing further information on that. I know there was some glitches with people being able to access the app, so there'll be more to follow on that. Supervisors also must be assigned to employees, and this is something that we've been working on because there have been some changes with who people are reporting to, et cetera. So that's something that we are very much trying to iron out, and that really does tie to Metasced and payroll and many other things. The last two issues I'm going to defer till next week when Lori is on to talk further about note audits and workflows. Okay, so equipment and records. Jim Moran, were you going to cover this section?
Megan, let's give Jim a minute to come into this space. He went back into his conference. Oh, here he is. Okay.
Okay.
Hello. So,
Hi, Jim.
Hi. So I just wanted to go back for 1 second, Megan, to the last slide. The
Okay.
note audit, it's possible that Lori wants to cover something else in particular, but I wanted to address this for the supervisors. One of the challenges that in Metasced right now is, unbeknownst to us when they set this up, it requires supervisors to sign off on all notes. That is troubling, and nobody has the time for that. So we have pushed back on that with Metasced. So the supervisor's box continues to be filled up with, sort of work orders in terms of signing off. What we've said to Metasced is that once the staff, the care manager has put forward a billable service and documented that and has passed that on to the supervisor, and the supervisor has accepted that and passed it on, that we are not expecting the supervisor to sign off on all the other notes. Now, the problem we have is how for them to fix that, right? It's going to take them time to do this from the systems perspective, but in the meantime, those will sit there, and you can leave them sit there. The problem is you'll have to make sure, the supervisor will have to make sure they know when they've passed something on from that staff person, because, otherwise what's going to happen is, the way Metasced told us they would do this in the interim, is that they would, once the service has been billed, they will then clean out the box, okay? And that'll be done on a daily basis. So as notes come to supervisors in that given month, they will clean out the box. Now, ultimately, that's not acceptable. We don't want the notes being passed on to the supervisor to sign off ultimately, but that's how they're going to do it in the interim. We still got to work through that procedure with them, and so we'll be doing that. So I know that's been a big issue and rightfully so, for the supervisors. That we can't have you spending all your time, reviewing and signing off on notes, right? Other than the ones that we need for billing. So that's a work in progress. I don't know, how you folks are handling that currently, but just so you know, we're not expecting you to be signing off on every note as a supervisor. So, all right. So on to the next thing. And I'm not sure if that's what Lori's going to cover. She may be talking about something else about note audits. On the equipment, well, first of all, I just want to say, I know we still got some, pockets of issues with equipment in terms of people's phones or Chromebooks. We do know that I think by last count we had about 700. We had about 700 people activate their phones and Chromebooks. Now that means we have about 150 plus that have not. Now what that tells us, and what IT has told us, that doesn't mean you're not using the devices. The problem is you haven't registered the devices. If you do not register your device, you will not get the assessment pushed down to you because you haven't registered the devices. So please make sure you register your Chromebook and you register your iPhone. Okay, you have to do that. Even though you use it, you have to do a registration. All right, and if that's not clear, and I got people shaking their heads here, it's like, what are you talking about? We will make sure that we provide instruction on that if we haven't done so. Okay, but the devices have to be registered. So we'll get more information on that, and we'll have IT put something out that explains this further. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. In terms of the other challenges, We know there's been issues with slowness. Hopefully that will start to improve. When you do the drop downs, for your caseload, I know that was like, you could go out and have a cup of coffee, come back, and maybe it's downloaded. And Metasced is working on that. The problem is they have not put in the feature that would, direct, as you put that in, it would direct you to your own caseload. What it's doing is running through 26,000 records to pull up your caseload, which is ridiculous, but that's how it was set up for some reason, and they haven't put in the edit that restricts it to your own caseload at that point. So I don't know, they talked about turning that feature on this week. It would be, does that seem to be happening?
Yeah.
All right, okay, yay, they finally did something that they said they were gonna do. Now, we'll see if it stays. Right, we'll see if it stays, but, 'cause that could change any moment, that you go back to your computers and that's no longer working. But, anyways, well, that's good to hear, 'cause they had promised us they would fix that. The other thing in terms of, the other big issue, of course, has been in getting, folks printers. That's been a challenge from a number of perspectives. I believe by the end of this week, we'll have 45 of our locations, will have their printers in place. That leaves still about, 60, it's about 50 plus places without printers yet. So what's going to happen is that's going to be completed next week. There's 30 sites of the remaining number that where there's a larger number of staff, where those will still come the way they've been coming to the sites. For the smaller sites where we have literally 2 or 3 people, we're going to drop ship printers next week to those locations. Through IT is working on that, so that by the end of next week, everybody should be up and running with the printer. So I really apologize. I know that this has been a major impediment for folks to be able to do their jobs, and this has taken much longer. Part of the problem is we've tried to go through the MSC agencies to work on the company who is shipping the printers has had trouble holding people, or people not getting back to them, because we've been relying on the MSC agency to help us with this. And so we're going to step back from that, and we're actually going to reach out to the folks who are on site for Care Design and work through them. And then what will happen is we'll do the copier company will do a walkthrough with people at the site on how to activate the printers, okay, and how to do all of that. So that's how that will work into next week. Printers are still being delivered today and tomorrow, as well as all into next week. So Jim Brown has promised us that we'll have this all resolved next week. We had hoped to have it done this week, and obviously that's not happening. So problem is we have 98 locations, which is ridiculous, number one, and it's very hard to deal with these kinds of things when you've got almost 100 locations. So bear with us. I know that's been a challenge. Some of you have been able to use just for copying because you're not hooked to the agency systems. Some of the MSC agencies have allowed folks to use their copiers and stuff, so we appreciate that. We've asked them to allow that. Some have cooperated and some haven't, so bear with us on that piece. So we hope to have that resolved, by next week, and everything is working, hopefully working properly on the equipment side. Records, we've had some issues with some folks getting access to records from their former agencies. Please let your regional know about that. Because what we've been doing is kind of picking them off one at a time and going back to them, to the agencies, and going to the administration, the leadership of the agency to kind of get to crack that issue. There's a couple I've personally been involved with that we know we've had challenges with getting information. So please get to your regional, and then we will try to work through those issues for you. We know it's critical that you have these documents. Obviously, some of them might reside in choices, but since most people here don't have access to choices, it's not very helpful, because some of the documents may be in choices that you're looking for. But we will look to put out a list at some point, of who has access to Choices, so that at least everybody knows if there's a go-to person to go and help pull records if you needed something that you don't have. And maybe it's in Choices, it's not necessarily there, because not everything was being put up into Choices by the agencies, but we will try to make that available. We'll work with the regionals to make sure that folks know who currently has access to Choices, and possibly could help in those situations. We were at 90, I think, as we said earlier. Christina probably has an updated number, because we do have an ability to run a report to see who has gotten access to Choices. So we know we've submitted almost, I think, forms for everybody at this point, which would be over 800 people, and last count was 90 people. So that's not good. So it's taken forever to get people access to Choices. So I don't know when that's going to be. It's on our list every week with OPWDD in terms of issues. They say they're still working through that, and yes, there's thousands of staff involved. So but you would hope they would have been prepared for this a little better than they seem to be. But anyways, so that's that. I don't know what the the flash drive, Megan. I don't know. Laura, you know what that is?
Jim.
The flash drive. Lori now joined us, by the way.
Okay.
Do we know what the
Hi,
flash
Lori.
drive? Yeah, can you come over, Laura? Lori's had a stressful morning already. She was in traffic and.
It's behind multiple accidents. I'm jealous that Carrie's sitting here, so she evidently missed them all.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. The flash drives. We know that some of you guys have your records from your old agencies on your flash drives and want to be able to upload those onto your Chromebook so that you can add them to Metasced. We are working through IT with that so that you can be able to do that. We're trying to find a solution. And along the lines of that, we also know some of you have agencies who stored some files on a cloud server for you, and the security system is blocking that from you being able to get that. IT, Jim Brown's group, is working on finding a way so that you guys can also access that.
Okay, Megan, back to you. Oh, I guess it's me next, right?
It's you, Jim. Yes.
Yeah, I just saw that. We're up. So I just want, and again, this will be in the handout that you guys will be able to get. I mean, we wanted to be able to show you the organizational structure. This is what we provided to the health department. I know you can't read it on the screen, so don't even. My eyes are bad anyways, but I can't even come close to reading that. But it's just trying to give everybody a sense of the organizational structure. And then the next slide is one that speaks more specifically to the care management side of the operation, right? Which is the predominance of what we do. That's why it looks so big on the screen there. That's the predominance of the work that all of you are involved with, and staff that we have yet to hire, like some of the clinical resources. Although we do have a doctor starting on July 23rd. We have a physician that will be joining us half-time starting on the 23rd. We also just entered into a contract for nursing in the New York City, Long Island area, and we'll be probably looking to do the same in other parts of the state until we actually start to hire nurses to assist you with individuals who might need that kind of support going forward in terms of assistance relative to plan development or issues or concerns folks may have that a nurse could possibly help you with in terms of navigating some of that. So we will look to get that in place as well. But anyway, so we wanted to just show you more specifically what the structure looks like, because I don't think we've actually presented, can't recall that we presented this before. So I just wanted everybody to be able to see that and have that. And we'll also make sure that, and we didn't put it on this today, but next week, we'll also put out like who's in some of these boxes. So, you may already know some of the people, but we'll make sure that you know who's in some of these positions so that you have those for future reference. So that's what we're trying to do here. Okay, Megan.
Okay, so we'd like to really thank we'd like to thank everybody. We know that the past 2 weeks have really been a whirlwind for everybody. There's been so much activity, and so much commitment from all our staff. We have, I know on the leadership level, people are really enjoying the visits and getting out to meet all of you. I believe we've gotten to almost all of the sites. I think we may still have a few more to do into next week. But thank you. We really, we certainly have a committed workforce, and we appreciate the feedback that you're all giving to us too. It's helping us to really shape steps that we have to take as an organization. And we've definitely accomplished a lot, and more to follow on that. So we have some questions that I know are coming through that we will try to right now field the best we can for the next few minutes.
So Megan, the group is asking for clarification on when they need to send PHI via email. Is it encrypt or secure that needs to go in the subject line?
I believe it's secure, right, Jim?
Yeah, the word is secure that you have to put in.
They changed it.
Secure was always OPW, for encryption, but the emails we all got said in ours, when we're sending it out, to put encrypt. So maybe.
I'm not familiar with that email that said encrypt for Care Design. I only remember the word secure. We'll double check that, and if that's different,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I've been using the word secure. You did?
Jim Brown had said, yeah.
All right, well, hold off on that. Let's regroup with Jim Brown. You think it's encrypt too, Lisa? Okay, I guess I've been using the wrong word. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I don't know why, yeah. So apparently Jim Brown has told folks that the word is encrypt, so thank you for correcting me.
All right, so I'm going to update the PowerPoint too, so everybody knows the correct information on that, so it's encrypt.
Okay. I don't know where I had secure in my head, but go ahead.
I can see some of the questions, not all of them, but the question here is, will CDMY be getting ID badges? And I know we've heard a lot of that from staff as we've done visits, and we will be taking steps to move to do that. It won't be, you won't have badges for next week, but we do understand that that is something that's important that we are going to need to do. So that is something that we will be working on, in short order. Lori, can you see the other questions?
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of them. So obviously I didn't get to go over my I didn't get to go over my slides because long story, but anyway. So let's go over some of the questions that pertain that were on my slides. So the first one is.
Well, just remember we got 8 minutes because people have to go off to another session, so we're limited to 8 minutes today.
I'll be super quick. IM assessment. We're doing the final testing, and then you'll have it. Character limit in the notes and comment section. Metasced is working on it, and that's pretty much what I wanted to let you guys know.
It's always Metasced's working on it.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so there's lots of questions here, Lisa, about PTO, do you know when direct deposits will hit the banks?
That's probably a better question for Kathy Murray Kelly. I know that she did her very best to get as many of the direct deposits in as possible. My understanding is that if you log into Paycom, and you should see your direct deposit information in there. But if there's any question about whether your direct deposit hit or not, please email her at payroll@caredesignny.org. She's going to kill me after this. I'm just going to get a lot of emails. Yeah, what are your other questions?
I would say for those of us who have been here, it typically would be Thursday, would be the typical, is when it would appear. I don't know the exact time on Thursday.
Credit unions tend to hit Thursday evenings,
Okay.
and private banks are Friday morning.
Yeah.
Oh, are they? Okay. I have a credit union, so I don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
credit unions hit on Thursday.
Okay.
There is a question about how care managers will know if their services were successfully billed so they can keep track of them. There is a reporting feature in Metasced on how to do that, but to be honest, our team here has not worked with Metasced on the reporting. That's something that starts next week. And once we can get a better understanding of how that works, we will start to push it out to everybody. But right now, our priority has been getting everybody in with their passwords, getting caseloads assigned, and getting the employees assigned to their supervisors so that we can complete that whole billing loop. How many more minutes do we have?
Lori, do you want to do one more question? And then what we can do is take the rest of the questions and look at putting together a response.
Sure. Most of the questions that I'm seeing are questions that we've seen before in Metaskim. My email box is full of them, and I'm working through those. Another one is, will we be able to get accessories for the Chromebook, such as mouse and keyboard? Was it covered already?
No.
When I was in the field, they're asking.
Yeah.
And also, some people need those to make it higher because they, you know what I mean, so that they don't have the neck strain that they had it.
Okay.
So
that'll be a work in progress, but we will look to provide accessories, to the Chromebooks. We'll talk to IT about that and look to put together a plan that sort of, that better supports, the staff who have them. So we'll talk to IT and we'll give you more information once we talk to them about it.
For the this is a good one for you, Jim. For the home visit requirements, if a home visit was completed between January through July, does that count towards the annual home visit requirement?
No, we're looking at it from July. Quite honestly, we're starting in July. And remember, first of all, to be clear, the home visit requirement is a care design requirement. It's not a DOH OPWDD requirement. Their requirement is face-to-face. Our requirement in care design is that we do think everybody should be visited in various locations, including their home. If to the extent the family or an individual do not want you to come to their home, you just need to document that. But the clock starts July 1st. So it would be 12 months. We would look at it as you don't have to do, it's really a 12-month period. So we didn't start until July 1st. So we're not expecting everybody to have a home visit in 6 months. But again, it's a care design, and we would want that documented to the extent that you attempted to make that. And we obviously would like that to happen, but if they insist that it not, then you just need to document it.
All right. There's a lot of requests for clarifications on face-to-face box, that little check box on your note. The people who wrote in are correct. It says in person, and that indicates it's face-to-face. However, if you are truly doing a face-to-face visit, just a touch base, you can write face-to-face with an individual and then complete the information in the notes. But if you're doing, say, a face-to-face for a semi-annual review, your task would be a semi-annual review or whatever the language is, and then you check the box that you did it in person. And that's how you're going to get credit for a face-to-face for that month.
But that box has to be checked in person.
The box has to be checked in person.
If they don't check it on other times, they're not going to it's not going to count as a face-to-face, or it doesn't matter? I mean, some people have to have a face-to-face monthly, so.
Right. It's my understanding that if you're doing a meeting for whatever reason, say it's an IDT team meeting or an ISP review or whatever it is you're doing with the folks, as long as you check that in person, in the background, the technology recognizes that as your face-to-face meeting for the month or the time period. So you don't have to then go do a separate face-to-face just to get that checked off. Does that make sense? No?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the next month, you just have to hit the box once also.
Correct.
With whatever you're working on with that individual, to support the individual, yes.
In terms of the any face-to-face, yes.
Yeah.
No matter, okay.
You want to always check that box in person. As long as you've done an in-person, right.
Okay, I think we have to wrap up now. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll look at the other questions and try to get feedback out. I see there's a number of things on Tier 4 and billing, and those are areas that we are going to be covering and providing further guidance on, and Lori will be covering in the training next week. So the PowerPoint will be revised, and we'll make sure that everybody gets access to it. Have a great day, everybody.
Lori,
if they mark it.
Bye-bye.